allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bruce, roll call, please.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bisbal.
Here.
Councilmember Ellis.
Here.
Councilmember Gazelle.
Here.
Mayor Kujirski.
Here.
Councilmember Yusuf.
I'd like a motion to excuse Doug from tonight's meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Councilmember Seaver.
Present.
On page 4 are the minutes from the last monthly meeting. Please review, and if it's okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Next item is different boards, commissions, and committee minutes that we accept in the public domain on pages 10 through 17. Again, I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Support? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Public comment? Any public comment? Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chase Wakefield, 516 Sheldon. Just quickly, first of all, I want to thank the council and the mayor. Mayor Ted probably gets sick of me saying it, but very proud of where our city has gone in the last 10 years. I think it's changed dramatically, and we have a council and a mayor we can be quite proud of. And I'll tell anybody who will listen to me about that. Every year I do keep repeating it. I think Ted's sick of it, but thank you again. So, in regards to it is an old business item here on the Arc of Grosse Pointe, the pool usage. Just wanted to quickly say I support that organization. Grosse Pointe Lions Club has supported it for years. Them using our pool, I think, is a no-brainer. That organization becomes almost a catch-all in this area for children and adults that don't have anywhere else to go for recreation, for dances, for parties, stuff like that. Deb's done an awesome job for years and years with this organization. I'm hoping we can continue with letting them use the pool. Quickly, I'll tell you one quick story. There was a girl one year that they did a horse riding thing. She could barely get on the bus. She was very stiff. There was something with her muscles, something. So I thought, how's this girl ever going to ride horses? Deb ended up getting her up on the horse itself. She came to life. I mean, this girl changed dramatically. All of a sudden, she could move slightly, and she was riding a horse. And got back on the bus on the way home, was back to this stiff girl that you just didn't see moving and doing the things she had just done. So her organization allows people like that to experience things they wouldn't normally experience. So hoping we will, again, allow them to use our pool. It's a simple thing, no-brainer, but I just wanted to say support for it. Hopefully you do too.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Public comment? Yes.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Harry Kurtz, 1040 Lakeshore. I, at the last meeting, brought up a question about the gatehouse and how it was going to be managed and operated. And I know there was some confusion at the time, and I was just hoping to find out, I guess you could consider it an agenda item, if that has been resolved and if the intention is to now have the gatehouse manned at all times while the park is open, as well as the secondary, or what is currently the original gatehouse. Is that the plan? They have them both manned at all times that the park is open.
Harry, I think that, first off, the concept was evolving, and
Sure.
we were working out through some kinks. I think our police chief, I think, we're adjusting to the traffic flow.
Ah,
So,
so you don't have a firm plan on,
well, I mean, and again, I think it's been evolving. Chief, do you want to make any comments to? Okay.
the night shift is like after 11? And I guess the question would follow up on that, is that something that we've now built into the budget, that that's the plan, or is it going to continue to be flexible for a while?
Well, I think we're looking at our peak period, trying to understand the usage. Now that we we have a scannable card, I mean, we can better track our usage and adjust our manpower.
Okay.
So,
Good. My only other quick budget item is I see you have the name Allison Scarfone on here. I've known her for a long time. And I don't know anything about her qualifications for being a park manager, but I'll tell you, she's a terrific gal when we've known her. She used to work at the church we attended. So, you know, I've been pushing for this for 8 years, so I never would have guessed it'd be Allison, but I want to commend the ongoing progress. Thank you.
well, thank you, Harry. Thank you. Any more public comment? Public comment? If not, this is the best point of the meeting. We have a presentation, proclamation to Alex and Peter. Alex, would you come up, please? This is the highlight of the meeting. This is the highlight when we recognize our distinguished residents. So it's my pleasure today to give this proclamation to Alex for his good work in the community. And it reads, whereas Mr. Lucino, a resident of Grosse Pointe Court since 1995, has been recognized with the 2019 St. John Gill Honoree of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Mr. Lucino has served the community on numerous occasions, and Mr. Lucino is a licensed real estate broker and has over 25 years in the real estate industry and continues to own and run one of the finest small real estate firms in Southeast Michigan. He has extensive experience representing his clients, focusing on client interest first. Alex continues to proceed to exemplify the meaning of what it is to work community. Whereas Alex graduated from North Point North High School and continued on at the University of Michigan. Graduated in 1984 with a bachelor's degree in business administration and managerial economics and finance. Alex received his real estate license while he was still in high school. He continued to sell real estate while also working 19 years as a medical equipment salesman. Alex has been involved with the St. John's Guild for over 25 years, serving as president of the Guild, past chairman, and co-chair of the Guild Dinner and current board member. His appointment co-chair of the community development campaign for the new patient tower at St. John's Hospital and Medical Center. Alex and his wife Lisa were recognized for their work with St. John's Hospital and Medical Center in 2012, and they received the National Philanthropic Award. He's also proud of his work with the Pope Francis Children's Center in Detroit, board member of Champions for Life at St. John's and the Northbrook Pediatric Foundation. His efforts are an illustration of dedication to one's community. Now therefore, this 18th day of June, it's my pleasure as mayor, the city council, and all the residents of Grosse Pointe Shores, sharing the pride felt by Mr. Lucino's wife, Lisa, and son Dominic, and congratulate him on his outstanding future and his latest And next, proclamation for Peter. Nice to recognize you. For Mr. Pete, Crackdella, a resident of Grosse Pointe Court since 1997, has been recognized as the 2019 St. John Gill Honoree of the Sister of Hermes Distinguished Service Award. Mr. Crackdella has always called Grosse Pointe his home and has served his community on numerous occasions. Whereas Pete is a graduate of Austin Catholic Preparatory School in Detroit and Michigan State University of Nature and Intelligence. On graduation, Peter joined NASDAQ Corporation and held several roles in accounting and finance, eventually assuming the position of president of NASDAQ Capital Corporation, and just recently returned to concluding a successful 38-year corporation. And whereas Peter has been a life member of St. John's Guild for over 30 years, he has served 10 years on the St. John Hospital Foundation Board, several years on the St. John Hospital Operating Board, and interim president of the St. John Providence Foundation in 2016. Governor Rick Snyder appointed Peter to the Michigan Early Stage Cancer Capital Board in 2014 and continues to serve the state in his third term. Peter is a lifelong member of Our Lady Star of St. Clair, former Parish Council member, as well as former board member and past president of Washington. He's currently president of the Peter Day and efforts are an illustration of dedication to the community. And therefore, this 18th anniversary, I, Captain Bernstein, with the City Council and residents of Village Home Shores, share this honor with Peter's wife, Neil, and sons Peter Jr., Matthew, Andrew, and Mark, and two daughters, Leah and Allison, and congratulate them on his outstanding achievement in this latest honor. Those were only half of his accomplishments. The next item on the agenda is Prudence Cole. Prudence? Prudence here?
She has to be on the agenda, so maybe we can just hold that for now.
Okay, we'll hold that for now. I'd like to make introduction, Harry. We're also very proud to welcome Allison Scarfone as our park manager. Allison, would you like to come up and say a few words? I just love the energy that you're going to bring to the park. Some of the ideas we discussed before the council meeting.
Hi, my name is Allison Scarfone on behalf of myself, my lengthy over 35 years now of being a Grosse Pointe resident. I feel blessed to work and serve you guys in the community, beginning as early as this evening, and then my first day reporting tomorrow morning as a official park manager of the village of Grosse Pointe Shores. I'm truly thankful, and I feel blessed to be in this position. I am excited. My mind has been racing since I left my old position at the law firm for over 10 years, on Wednesday, to this new position where my heart truly feels part of at home already in this position. I've spoken extensively with Mark Wallenweber, who's been a vital and integral part of me coming here, along with the community, I will say, of Dr. Christina Segal has been another person who I reached out and was very helpful and encouraging in motivating me to take hold of this position. So I'm truly blessed and thankful, and I feel excited. There are several ideas that I have in development. I have a meeting tomorrow morning as early as 9 with Mr. Wallenweber and Kay Drake to discuss the 4th of July, which I am probably most excited about. And I will be in the pool office. Please come and say hello. Please tell me your ideas. I would like to see them through. I am a yes person. And if there is a why, all we have to figure out is the how. And I'm absolutely convinced that the people here and the council members are truly, I agree with our first Chase that that Mr. Wakefield, as he so generously said, that this council members are dedicated to the city. So too, I'd like to join this proud city in making really, really fun events for this community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison. And welcome aboard, Allison. The other day I saw the head swim coach at the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club, and he says, "You have Allison Scarfone working for you? You have Allison Scarfone? You're going to love her. You're going to love her." So welcome, Allison. Next item 10, agenda item 10, special land use request, 914 Lakeshore Road. Action by council only, not as zoning board of appeals.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. 914 Lakeshore Road, Mr. and Mrs. DeKaiser are the petitioners, and they are requesting the city to allow installation of a basketball court between the house and the Lakeshore Drive. The Planning Commission determined that there is no adverse impact towards the neighbors or towards Lakeshore because there is a berm there, and there are opaque shrubs between the homes, so it does not affect the neighborhood. Along with the significant distances between homes. The neighboring homes that are existing along Lake Shore are not impacted by that. The Planning Commission voted unanimously. There were no complaints, or actually the neighbor to the south of them is in favor of it, and the neighbor to the north had no complaints.
Was that
about
Dr. Perry on the south?
Correct.
Okay. Well, good. Are there any questions of Mary?
Did he send a document, Dr. Perry, at all? Did he put it in writing at all?
I believe he visited the city hall, Dr. Perry did, and I'm not sure who he had spoken with, but he had no objection. I'm not sure, the Kaiser are here, if you'd like to ask them.
Because the last time he built a pool, when we put the pool in, he had expressed some concerns, and I'm just curious if you could get his signature as a consent on the document for the future record. That would be a possibility to do that. And that's great. I was just wondering, would it be possible to get a signature on the consent form that's part of our package for the future record? Just because some people get amnesia about what they agreed to. If we could do that, would be terrific.
And you can put that in your condition by voting and asking for that signature.
Okay. You want a motion, Todd?
Yes, I'd like a motion.
I got one question.
Okay.
Is there lighting with this involved?
Yes, there is
Does that
lighting, and
reflect on the streets at all or anything like that? Was that
it was
analyzed?
discussed, and they assured us that there will not be a hindrance for the neighbors or the street.
I'm just concerned about drivers. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm good.
I move that we approve the request pending the signature that Bruce requested.
For the southernmost neighbor, Dr. Perry, I think, is that? Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
The one thing I would do, when do you want to start construction? As soon as possible? That's why, and I don't want to hold you up in terms of getting the signature as part of the file so that you could start construction. So could we just amend the motion to say that the signature should be received with not less than 60 days from today?
Perfect.
So that that way you don't,
As I said.
Okay.
You mean you don't want them to wake them up for the signature tonight?
Yeah, I mean, come on, let's get it in the file at some point, but let's not stop you from going ahead, because this is prime time to get going, even though it's going to rain. There you go.
Okay, so the motion's been amended to include the acquiescence of the neighbor on the southern part of the property, Dr. Perry. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor of granting this, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Good luck with the court. Thank you. All right, the next item is a public hearing on a variance request, so I need a motion to enter into public hearing. There's support? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Mary.
Okay, this item is the variance request at 55 Vernier Road, and Mr. and Mrs. Collette, who are also here, the petitioner approached the Planning Commission to allow the side yard variance to build a detached two-car garage. Because of the modest rear yard size and nearness to the house and patio, the garage must be located in the setback to permit a vehicle to safely access the inside. That requires the structure to locate such that the required 9-foot side setback and the maximum rear yard lot coverage is exceeded. The Planning Commission ultimately granted a side yard variance of 3 feet. Foundation must be located no nearer than 6 feet from the east property line. The petitioner also agreed to site the rear foundation 7 feet from the rear property line to solve 2 concerns. Concern 1, the 7-foot separation allows the maximum rear yard lot coverage to be met, ending the need for a variance. Number 2, the separation allows the garage foundation to have a 1-foot separation from a utility easement, which is obviously good practice. A variance is also allows petitioner to conform to an ordinance requiring all the lots to have enclosed 2-car garage, 2 or 3. Planning Commission approved the variance request with the condition that the 7-foot separation be maintained from the rear property line. The vote was unanimous.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Do any neighbors or any the petitioners want to say anything in support of the application? Any neighbors, the petitioner?
We did not receive any adverse.
But, you know, variances are, in general, you have to establish the standard of care for a variance is pretty strict, you know, and there's 7 standards that need to be satisfied in order to grant a variance. Number 1, the strict enforcement of the requirements for the variance chapter would unreasonably deprive the owner of rights to enjoy his property. And our city planner has indicated that, that basically this would affect their deprivation of rights. Second, the requested variance cannot cause an adverse impact on surrounding properties. That's why surrounding properties are personally notified. People, I think, within 300 feet are personally notified, and then, of course, we have a public hearing for anybody else. And our city planner indicated that the 6-foot side and rear setbacks appear reasonable. 3 is, for a variance, the conditions and circumstances have to be unusual or unique to the subject property. And our city planner indicated this situation is very unique. House was built in 1942 without a garage. Without a garage. I don't know if we have any other houses that don't even have a garage. And the rear yard has limited space to construct a functional 2-car garage. And then 4th, the conditions and circumstance unique to the property were not created, were not self-created by the owner himself. And our city planner has indicated that the house was constructed for over 75 years and long before the petitioner purchased it. So then the last 3 items are the requested variance will not confer special privileges that are denied other properties similarly situated. Our city planner indicated no special privileges are conferred because this is so unique with not having a functional garage. 6, the required variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice to the petitioner as well as other properties adjacent in the district. And our city planner indicated the requested variances are minimal. It's a 7-foot rear setback is recommended, and the setback alleviates the need for a rear yard lot coverage variance. So the final item is the requested variance will not be contrary to the spirit or intent of our manual for granting variances, and our planner indicates that the approval maintains the spirit of our zoning ordinance. So, well, at this point, if there's no public comment, no city council comment, any comment? At that point, I ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there support? Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Yep.
I
Thank
need
you.
a motion to exit public hearing.
Make a motion, exit.
Is it seconded? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Rhonda?
Good evening, everyone. In your packet, first off, you have a list of the wire transfers for the month of June. The only one I'd like to comment on is a payment to Grosse Pointe Woods for our Blue Cross premium for the month of July. For the next 3 months, July, August, September, that monthly premium actually went down almost $8,000, so that's a great sign right there, because I was getting worried about our premiums going up and up and up. Going to the check register, one of the first items is the check payable to Belle Isle Awning for the awnings at the pool. There was some major tears in the one large pool awning that we knew of last fall. We had that one big windstorm that really ripped it up, where we thought it was just going to be repairs, but then it ended up being a replacement. And then there's a couple of other smaller awnings included in there.
That awning wasn't that old, was it? 3 years, 2, 3 years?
10 years?
Oh, was it, that one was that old?
It's a long time.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, yep. Brett and the Public Works Department are usually, I mean, right on it as soon as the season's over with. They're taking things down to, to keep the lives of the items going.
Okay.
There's also, you'll notice a lot of items. Helen's been busy. Wants to make this community more and more beautiful.
The entranceway looks
A lot of
beautiful.
flowers and garden-related items, whether it's the Roundup and poison ivy killer and so forth. There's also a lot of expenses for getting the pool started up this year, whether it's the paint, having Wayne County do the monitoring or the inspections and those kind of items.
I see an item for the elevator, 1126. Was that to get it in?
That was for one service call. I'm
Oh,
not sure
just
how
one
many
service.
more there might be.
Okay.
Because there was a few times that the elevator was down for a number of days.
Rhonda, we had a little bit more than $8,000 in overtime. Is that public safety overtime or is that non-public safety? I'm looking at the payroll disbursement.
It mainly is public safety. There is a small amount for public works.
Okay.
It could be a lot of, the chief can better explain that, but a lot of it could be just for coverage for vacation time since we are in that season again.
Okay. It just seemed a little high. I didn't know. Okay, good. Any other questions about the check register? If not, I need a motion to approve this check run.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thanks, Rhonda.
As far as the budget, we'll be touching into that subject in a few minutes. Water bills, you may have noticed, have arrived in your mailbox, whether the mailbox at your home or your email mailbox. We've had, I believe, around 70 or 80 emailed water bills, so that number is picking up.
wow.
So, tax bills, I am still waiting for one entity to approve their tax rates this week. So then we will really start moving on getting those prepared and mailed out.
Okay.
I heard from the auditors today. Our audit has been pushed back to the week of October 7th. They originally wanted to do it the first week of August, which is a little too early for me.
Oh.
Our bills aren't even in.
So the field work won't even start till October?
Yes, and that includes the preliminary field work. They're just going to put it all in the same week.
Okay.
Get it one full swipe. And they usually are waiting until October to get the final information from our actuaries. So they don't see an interruption in when they present the audit at the November meeting at all.
Okay, good.
And then also today, I met with 2 representatives from the BSNA software company all day. It'll continue tomorrow. Just going over the data extraction they did a couple months ago and converting it, the old software to the new software. And just today, going through what needs to still be tweaked a little here and there in the different programs, and to give me an overview of the process on these new software programs. So there's several items, very, very interesting that we have these options available to us now.
So like the water bill, how many line items do you think we would have?
Oh, well, we haven't gone into
Okay,
that.
okay.
Because we still have to develop.
Because my
whole-
neighbors are asking about
Yeah,
that.
we have to develop a program,
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
But
I'm
they
gonna be
will be
patient,
able to
Kathy.
handle it. And most likely, depending on the number of line items there, we might go to a full page bill versus a postcard bill.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Any other questions of Rhonda? If not, Bruce, oh no, we have the proposed budget amendments,
I
right?
have a quick question.
Sure.
Rhonda, I was in a conversation earlier this week, and there was a rumor that one resident had heard that some of the higher level staff people may be planning on leaving their positions, and I just wanted to ask you what your intention is.
Really haven't sat down with my husband to discuss it at all. So
Okay, but I mean, is your plan to stay with the city and
I
continue on?
would like to.
Okay, because I mean, we're just more than anything, just trying to get an understanding of, from, a stability standpoint, what to plan for. And I really didn't have an answer for the resident who brought it up to me. I was kind of caught off guard by it. I
And-
mean,
and
our hope is that you want to stay, but I figure that I owed it to at least ask the question.
And that's something that my husband and I will have to discuss first.
Okay, so you really don't have an answer at this time?
I would like to stay,
Okay, good.
but that's all I can commit to at this point.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. Budget amendments?
In your package is the revised budget for the calendar, the fiscal year that's ending June the 30th. I think the big highlights are two things. Number one, the anticipated year-end fund balance would be $1.6 million in the general fund, which is down from $2 million at the beginning of the year. And that's principally due to the park renovation monies being expended and have gone through that. We spent $520,000. This is the amended budget amount out of originally we had budgeted 480, but that's a big decrease in the fund balance that we had planned on. And the other decrease in the fund balance is the retiree health care account for retirees will have an additional contribution, I guess you could call it, or
Reimbursement?
infusion of $200,000, resulting in total monies in of $483,000. The reason for that, and it was the unanimous vote of the Finance Committee, was proceeds from the sale of the lot that we now know are free and clear of clawback from the county. We chose to take that money and put it into the retiree health care account. That'll put our OPEB liability in, I would think, at least 3, maybe 4 years down the road before we have to really address it again. So that'll put us in a really strong position. And by doing that, it puts us in a strong position there. We have a $1.6 million general fund balance. Our goal is to be between 25 and 30% of general revenues. 20% is, 20% is 1.2, 30% is 1.8, we're at 1.6, so we're in that sweet spot where we need to be to maintain our AAA credit rating. It covers all the other items that we have. It includes the park manager and all the other costs. So let's use that. That's money that is a windfall to us, and let's put it where we can get the most out of it. That's really the highlights. What did you say, Rhonda?
Yes.
The other stuff is missing. We get dinged by the auditor if, in the state of Michigan, if our expenditures exceed our budgeted amounts. So that's why we make these revisions twice a year to get the expenses consistent with their budget amount. But if you look at the overall numbers, there's no surprises in terms of the overall expenditures and costs. So that was the unanimous vote of the Finance Committee on June the 11th. Finance Committee, we'll talk about that next. So if there's any questions I can answer or comments, or to Rhonda and myself, please feel free to talk about it or what we have.
If not, we need a motion to approve these amendments on page 58 or 64. Is there a motion? A support? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Thanks, Rhonda. Bruce, committee report?
Finance Committee met June the 11th. We went through the revised budget we just voted on. Thank you very much for your support on that. That's great. We are looking at some other cost-saving ideas coming down the road here. Rhonda's got some ideas for retiree health care with prescription drug coverage that could result in some very significant savings for us in terms of changing the third-party administrator. So we'll be working on that. Next Finance Committee meeting will be in September. So you don't have to hear from me for a while.
And I know, Bruce, there's that most recent Michigan Supreme Court decision, too, that hasn't been digested, and we don't really know what the effects will be, but...
As you and I both know, Tim, we're lawyers. Who can predict?
Well,
It's-
but that was the Michigan Supreme Court.
Right, and that whole thing's an area of flux. And right now, we're kind of, as you say, if we can save $50,000 in our prescription drug coverage, that would be huge, as they say. So we're working on it.
Okay. Good report, Bruce. Thank you. Public safety?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Just before I start, I just wanted to mention just a couple things. I, along with Mark and Joe Cipriano and Kay Drake, had the opportunity to sit on Allison's interview process, and Mark has hired numerous people in our careers, and I can tell you that she is full of energy, and she is on board to do a great job. And so congratulations, Allison. In regards to the comment about the overtime, overtime is kind of a moving target. I watch it very carefully. We're into vacations, so when a member takes a personal day or the shift is shorted, we are required to fill that opening. I also have a command officer who is retiring, and I'm in the process of processing a young firefighter, paramedic, and so in that transition period, we'll be minus the supervisor, so we'll be getting out of vacations more as we move into August and September, so it should be minimal, but I've moved personnel to try and compensate for these shortages. On June 15th, the 2019 Ford Edge was taken overnight from Ballantyne. The vehicle was unlocked, and the fob to the vehicle was inside the vehicle. The car was started, and these subjects they left the area. Prior to that, they were seen on camera going through some other vehicles. The missing vehicle was equipped with a tracking application that allowed us to recover the vehicle in Detroit at 7 Mile and Hayes. The vehicle, inside the vehicle were several pieces of property from Grosse Pointe Woods that were taken in larceny from autos. We recovered all of that property, and we currently have DNA out at the crime lab hoping to identify a perpetrator. Vehicle was returned to the owner. We are processing the evidence at this time. All of the vehicles that were entered were unlocked. None were broken into. So, again, I remind residents, guests, and their guests are reminded to remove all valuable property from their cars, to lock the vehicles, garage them if possible, to try and prevent these, because they're not smashing windows, they're lifting door handles, and if the car is open, and even some are finding that the keys are inside, so please help us. Tom Krolchek and I this week visited 2 construction sites. We visited the Kruger construction site, Oxford and Lakeshore, and again at 33 Willow Tree in regards to complaints about the job sites. We spoke with both builders. We made some recommendations to them, and they have accommodated us. I believe they are now currently within our ordinances. The 3-city purchase of the breathing air compressor that I asked for last year system has been approved by Grosse Pointe Woods and Grosse Pointe Farms, and this will allow the 3 departments across to purchase a state-of-the-art unit at 1/3 of the cost. This unit will be housed in Grosse Pointe Woods. Probably won't be installed until September or October, but it will be part of the 1920 budget. So we're thankful for that, and we have an opportunity to buy into this project at 1/3 of the cost. We're sharing the cost with these communities. So I was informed also today that the construction lockup project in Grosse Pointe Woods is nearing completion. I hope to present a PowerPoint in August with the finished product, and as well, Grosse Pointe Woods will be inviting administration and city council to tour their facility. It's going to be wonderful. They've had numerous setbacks with the completing the project, but they are finally on board. I was recently informed by the office of the Committee of the Year and the Executive Board of the Fraternal Order of Police in Grosse Pointe that PSO Tony Spina will be awarded the Officer of the Year award in Grosse Pointe. They award this to one officer per year. The presentation will be made on Wednesday, August 21st at 6 p.m. at the Grosse Pointe Farms Pier Park, and that's their cornrow date, so they'll be honoring him that night. So, and that's all I have for tonight.
Chief, I have a couple of questions concerning the gatehouse manning of the main gatehouse, and let's just say the secondary, which is the one in the back. I happened to be there today. Both were manned. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Nobody was there. How often will you be looking at the statistics of, from reading the cards to see if it's warranted to have 2 rangers in the park during the day like this?
this is one of the objectives that we're going to ask Allison to help us with.
Okay.
To analyze some of this data. We'll be generating some of these reports. This is new for us.
Sure.
And
No,
for
absolutely.
example, in Grosse Pointe Woods and in Grosse Pointe Farms, they have a single gatehouse, but they also have numerous other people within the park. We're finding that during the week, sometimes we have groups that are having picnics, that they need to be assisted by the ranger inside. And we really didn't want to get started. We wanted to roll this out so that we get the best service possible. So we'll be looking at that, and I'm sure that Allison will have recommendations for yours.
Well, one thing that just is observation of mine is the ranger or person that's hired to be inside, to be in the inside gatehouse. I mean, couldn't that person also like double duty as, cleaning up the geese pool, doing different things rather than just sitting in the gatehouse? Those bathrooms, they constantly need to be looked at and kind of cleaned up a little bit. And just the area, I mean, couldn't we use that person to do other things while they're sitting there?
It's a possibility. However, with the inside gatehouse, we require them, we ask them to keep an eye on the kids in the park, on the swimming in the canal, on the fishing in the canal.
How they can't see it when they're
No, but
sitting
they walk
inside
through the
there.
park.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why don't they do stuff while they're walking through the park?
Well, that would be a change. I would talk to Mark about it, and we could see.
Okay.
It's
Because we need things swept off
it's
and.
all new now.
Okay.
They're not maintenance people. They were hired for a specific purpose.
Mhm. Well, we can add to their job responsibilities, set in stone that they can't help out. Am I the only one that thinks that?
Any other questions for the
If we're gonna pay
chief?
2 people there, we might as well have them do something.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Chief, I had sent you an email regarding a wireless scanner for the front gatehouse. What is the cost on that, and is that the reservation?
I'm under the impression that's been ordered.
Okay.
I think it was $1,000.
Okay,
To be compatible with the software that they're currently using. We have some function issues, if you will, with the new gatehouse. We're trying to work through those. The doorway is somewhat awkward. This is all new to us, so we're still kind of raking around here.
are they gonna rehinge the door, or are we gonna just,
Well, that was the recommendation. That was a request from the council, from the rangers, as well as we went over and observed it. Brett and I have looked at it, and we've seen how it functions, and it could be more streamlined. Yes, we are asking that be done.
okay. So, the scanner that has the cord on it, I'm assuming that's gonna move to the inner gatehouse?
Well, they have their own corded scanner. They have their own tethered scanner on the inside.
Okay, they didn't a week ago, so did that just come in, or?
I'd have to talk to Tom about that. I wouldn't be a question about this.
Okay, because I had talked to that gatehouse attendant, a few people had slipped by. One of the things that I've noticed is that the larger gate opening, that's the exit for cars, a lot of bikers just blow through that. And
Old habits die kind of hard.
Yeah.
These kids are. that's
it's
how
not
they-
kids, it's adults. The kids have been great. I watch kids, they go on the sidewalk, they don't ride in the road. And since you put those cones up, they don't go into the parking lot now, and they just follow the sidewalk contour.
We've had
And-
strollers come in that gate as well, and they've been doing it for 30 years, and now they're still doing it. We're working on it, and it's going to be something that it'll develop over time. I'm hoping we'll get better compliance on that.
Okay, so we have 2 corded scanners and now wireless? Can we
That's-
return one, or?
I actually don't have that information for you. I will find out about it. And
Okay. All right, because they're not cheap, I know that. As far as the area where you've got the cones, is there any plan to put like a small barricade up? Great, so there'll be a little fence there? Great, perfect. Okay, and then the last question, I want to ask you the same question I asked Rhonda. I just want to be able to go on the record and squash these rumors. Are you planning on staying? What's your plan as far as your employment?
I would probably answer similarly to Rhonda in that I don't have any plans currently. I love my job. There's work to be done here. We have hiring now. We have promotions that'll be coming up. So I currently have no my current plans are to remain in the employ in Grosse Pointe Shores
Great.
and serve this community.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. I think with the entranceway, it's working out better than I ever envisioned it, Chief, so thanks. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Brett?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm going to try to be brief this evening.
I see activity on my street,
Oh, you do? I'll be talking about that here
so
in a
my
little
good
bit,
neighbor is
but,
gonna be very happy.
Well, that's good. Well, it seems as there's always a challenge for your DPW, and I can say again, once again this month, we have challenges as well this month. And this time it seems to be the lake level. As everyone knows, the lake level has been going up for quite a while, and currently it's at a record high. The high waters made it necessary to fill some sandbags across the street near our marina. Currently, the water is over the seawall, and the sandbags are holding the back water, and they're doing a fine job at this time. If they weren't there, the park would be part of the marina, so it's looking really nice. We've also had to put a plug in our stormwater system. Normally, we have rainwater goes into the catch basins and flows to the lake, but with the lake level so high, the lake is actually flowing up and into our storm system, and we actually had water coming out of the catch basins and manholes in the park flooding our park area. So what we did is we put a plug in that outfall, and you may have noticed a pump over there in the green area. That's literally pumping the rainwater and the groundwater out into the lake. So we're noticing a little bit of difference. Things are drying up a little bit, and we'll see how that moves forward. You've also, or possibly you've also noticed a few puddles on Lakeshore Road as you're heading south into Grosse Pointe Shores, right up near the Ford's Curve. I can comment as well, we have the exact same problem where the lake level is actually coming up into the street, putting some pretty good sized puddles there. When we have no wind or wind out of the west, we have some large puddles, but when we have a northeast wind, we've actually had water there curb to curb. I've been working with the SEMSD, the Southeast Macomb Sanitary District, working on the issue, and we're going to try to get a hold of a plug to plug that pipe as well and pump that down to see if we can get that water to go down. However, at this time, SEMSD is currently working on the recirculation station that's right at the Milk River. You may have remembered me, or may remember me speaking of that project in the past. So they hope to be able to pump next week sometime. So the plan is to lower the gates, the dams that they have there at the river. We're going to try to pump that down, get into the river, and stick a plug to where the water is supposed to come in from the catch basins. And then as we do in the park, we'll have to install a pump that will pump all the catch basins and the rainwater from Fair Lake Lane all the way around Ford's Curve and then into the Milk River. So we'll be doing that with a pump. We don't have the pipe size yet. We're going to have to get in there and measure it so we can order the plug for it, and we hope to have that done in the next week or so. Let's see. Colonial Road has been paved. We have some unresolved punch list items that need to be taken care of, and I hope to close this project out soon. I have to make a little change on my notes. I just got off the phone with a gentleman named Chris from ASI, Asphalt Specialties, who is very aware of the problems we're having on Colonial. Specifically, it's some grade issues. The crown is not adequate, and as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, he says that their company has agreed to go back into Colonial. We're going to have to mill it again and repave it to put the crown in the way it should be. I should be getting some more information tomorrow and a date when we can start this work, but I hope to get that started ASAP, which would mean next week or the week after. We also have some unresolved punch list items on Belmead. Nothing major, but that project has not been finalized yet, and we hope to be finalizing that soon. And one thing good, with rain every other day, Harold and his crew have been able to grow grass very quickly. You can see the turnaround and the new park entrance. It looked like grass was never missing. I mean, he is just amazing at growing grass. And the landscaping near the new park entrance with Helen and her crew, Kevin, I think it looks beautiful over there. It's really looking good. And Harold is also working on ground repairs from the water main breaks that we had last year. He's got a few to go yet. We got a slow start with this wet weather. And the dirt that he's been getting to fill these water main breaks, these guys are working in the mud. You know, we get a truckload of dirt and we're trying to rake it, and it's just slower than normal. So we are behind on that department. Also, Kevin has been working real well with the beautification committee, and Helen. The flowers have been planted, and with this rain we've had, I think Grosse Pointe Shores is looking spectacular. So hats off to him. Beautification committee and the crew for working on that. And I think, as I mentioned last year, again with this rain, the grass is growing like crazy. We're having to cut it more often than normal, and it's taking longer to cut. Usually I'm tracked right down to the man hour or how long it takes to get my grass cut, and we're not meeting our expectations on getting things done. But they're happening, they're just happening slower. Streets or clumps on the ground. That's just because it's growing so fast. And hopefully things will dry up a little bit so we can get back on track. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this last night, or I'm sorry, last council meeting or not, but our Crestwood generator has arrived. We'll be starting this project very soon. In fact, we have a borrowed generator that is down there right now. And we ran our lift station for a day on the generator just to make sure that we can provide standby power in case there's a power outage while we're replacing the current generator. The old generator scheduled, we're planning on getting started Friday. We have a bunch of bushes to remove. We'll remove the old generator. We have to remove a pad. Once that's done, we have gas lines that have to be moved, the natural gas that supplies power for the generator. We have some electric that needs to go in. Rules have changed. Right now we have a raceway that goes between the generator and the pump station, and now we have to have two lines, one for low voltage and high. So that's a project we're going to get started on here the next week or so. We hope we have all of our bases covered. We've talked to all of our subcontractors, our cement guy, the electrician, and a lot of your DPW staff is going to be doing a lot of that work as well. So we think we have everything timed out. And if we don't have any hiccups, we look forward to a smooth project. We haven't had a smooth project in a while, so we look to have that done in a few weeks. And also, you mentioned the approach on Woodland Shore is finally under construction. We were hoping to get started on that last fall, but the winter weather hit us very quickly. So currently, the traffic from Cook Road is being diverted to South Deeplands. Seems to be working out very well, and once the construction is done and we're waiting for the concrete to dry, we have Woodland Shore is open to local traffic only. In a week when when the concrete is dry, we're going to start on the other side. While they're doing the work, they'll close the road completely just because we need the equipment to get on both sides of the street. And then we're going to have to wait another week before we can open that up. You may see some work there that we've done on catch basins. We've had our eyes on that for quite a while, and now that the road is closed to local traffic only, we have the opportunity to get in there and do that work as well. So it's moving forward and looking good so far where I was playing.
Good work, Brad.
Good
work.
I also mentioned at our last meeting that our cold patch crew is behind schedule. Well, we have had them out. They're out working a lot. We've put a lot of cold patch on the ground, but we're not caught up yet. We're working regularly. And again, as I normally mention, if you see anything that needs attention, please feel free to let me know. Those calls are appreciated. I keep a list where attention is needed, and we appreciate those calls, so feel free to do that. Also, Allison, welcome to Grosse Pointe Shores. Look forward to working with you. I'm sure we'll get to know each other real well. DPW staff, I look forward to meeting you here in the next couple days. That is all I have for this evening. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them at this time.
Brad, if water stays this high, is there a plan to put deflectors along where the kayak rack would go, or that area where the sandbags are?
Well, we have the sandbags that go all the way to the end, and if the water is going to come up much further, we're going to be worrying about keeping the water out of the park and that kayak area. there is a little drain there right by the garage.
Oh, by the
And
garage.
This morning, you could see water squirting up through the drain. So we ran up to the hardware store, and you know the old plugs that you push in the pipe and you turn the little thumb screw?
Yeah.
We stuck that in there. And so far it's holding, and we put a little sump pump in there to get rid of that water, because the water is literally coming into the garage and into that shed that has all our pumps for our irrigation system. So if you haven't had the opportunity to take a walk over there and look at the water level, I would encourage you to do so. I mean, yes, wear your boots. I remember back in '86, it was record high, and this is higher.
4 years ago, they talked about dredging because water was so low.
That is correct.
You know,
Yes,
remember?
you're-
I know they were gonna.
You're right, yes.
Well, good work, Brett. Any questions of Brett?
Yeah, I have a couple. Brett, for starters, I wanted to thank you and the chief for responding to my request to do something about those zones along the seawall on Lakeshore Drive. You know, I know you saw those pictures that I had taken from the lakeside, and it's really dangerous. I mean, at least with the safety tape there, the caution tape, people get a heads up that they're in an area that's not safe. To see that those entire cement panels are like, there's so much erosion from the water underneath them that there's nothing to support them, and then they collapse. The idea of seeing somebody walking their dog or walking, you know, along one of those and having it collapse from their weight being on top of it is a real possibility. So I appreciate you guys responding and doing that.
We've been watching that for quite some time, probably 4 or 5 years we've been giving information to the county, and I believe Councilman Barrett may be speaking about that later on in the meeting. And I forgot to mention the fact that I did find the company that does the lights that go green and red.
Okay.
We emailed them and they returned the email. I should be getting the price back soon. I didn't have one as of 4:30 this evening, but they do make them.
That's great.
So,
I appreciate you looking into that. We lost power earlier.
Yes.
What happened?
Ashland was doing some tree trimming on Vernier Road, and apparently they trimmed something that shouldn't have been trimmed and it fell down on the power line, and we did lose power. I can say that our generator worked great. We had one little flicker, and I don't know, it probably took 4 or 5 hours, maybe longer, to get that repair made, but we were business as usual. At least I did in my office today. So we had some issues at the yacht club. They had some concerns, and I believe the power came on around. I'm sorry. 4:20. Okay, thank you. And that's another thing that's I need to check into, because I can't tell when the power comes on. You know, if you're in your office and you're working on a generator, it automatically clicks over to the main power system, and I didn't notice any
Wow.
interruption. So I don't know if there's a way we can figure that out or not.
Maybe put an indicator light or something.
There might be something there, yes.
And then lastly, I want to ask you the same question. What are your intentions with your employment here with the city?
I've been here for a long time. Grosse Pointe Shores is my home. Grosse Pointe Shores is my family. I have no intentions of leaving at this time, if council will have me.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Brett. Good report. Is anybody from the Parks Committee here? I know Doug is out of town. Joe? I see Joe here. Mark, do you have anything to add about Park Committee, or? I wasn't
We're
at.
excited to get Allison on board tomorrow. Or
Right.
Actually tonight. We met her, and we got meetings tomorrow with various folks to begin some projects.
Okay. Yeah, what do you have something
We
to
met
add?
at the park today, the committee for the 4th of July concert in the park, and we found a dry location for the bandstand, and it's going to be a really great night. I mean, there's going to be music, Dan Fleming and Brett Smith with the Improvement Foundation have reached out and got some food trucks that are going to come throughout the day, and maybe one vendor will actually set up like a stand inside of the park so that there's various types of food that the residents can try and buy. And Mark has got an ice cream freezer that's going to be there, and we're going to have ice cream available for kids and glow sticks and glow-in-the-dark rings and bracelets and necklaces and just a lot of fun stuff. So it looks like everything's coming together. At this point, my original goal was to raise $25,000 to pay for this, and basically from that $25,000, it would fund the cost of the concert and pay for the fireworks display. We're at $22,000 right now, so we're $3,000 short. Still have time, but if there's anybody out there who'd like to buy a corporate sponsorship, please let me know. It's a $1,000 sponsorship. You get advertising on the banner that's put up on the stage, and then that banner will stay in the park for the rest of the season. So it's not a one-night thing only. We've talked about actually, instead of 2 banners, coming up with a backdrop like they have like on the red carpet, so people can take pictures that night, and then if they post on Facebook, all of the advertisers will get their name all over Facebook too. So that's another thing we're looking at doing. So it should be a really great night. And lastly, we're up on the roof of the yacht club because there's going to be a VIP area for all of the sponsors. They'll have VIP seating at the park, and then the yacht club is opening a VIP observation area for the sponsors to watch the fireworks. So we're up on the roof of the yacht club, and I saw that the new microwaves have been installed for the Wi-Fi in the park. So within the next few days, we will have Wi-Fi for all of our residents who want to take the day and work out in the park, from the park, or work from their boat, and be able to communicate that way. So it's a really great addition. And again, with the amount of rain we have had, it's amazing how great everything looks. And my hats off to the staff. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt.
Is this still gonna cost about $800 a month for a Wi-Fi line?
I don't know. I don't think that's the case, is it?
Well, there was a one-time charge, and then
One-time charge that the contractor is using, a portion of it is splitting almost 50/50, and then there is a monthly charge of the vendors that we looked at. This contractor that we wanted to do actually the local residents. There is a monthly charge, it's the only one that we're gonna run, we can shut this off and spend it.
$600 a month.
Yeah, I think it's 600.
but it ends in November, I think.
But we don't
doesn't
have to
it?
have it on all year round,
Right.
so it's seasonal. It's a good deal.
Okay, that's a great deal.
Well, who's gonna decide when to turn it off? I mean, is that a decision that needs to be made now, or does he need
Yeah, we're
some
gonna
kind
see
of?
probably, when this thing is in, traffic and use of the park.
Probably Labor Day. That's when the traffic goes to
Maybe
nothing.
Labor Day when they continue it from the end of the month.
The votes come on October, don't they?
November 10th.
Yeah, but there's nothing much.
But I wouldn't wait till
I
then.
wouldn't.
Well, okay, I agree.
That's a decision that park people can make.
Park's very good.
Okay, well then
Yeah.
let's put that on their agenda. then, to
Allison,
make
that's
that
on
dec-
your to-do list.
Allison, you got one more thing
Okay.
to do.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Keep adding to it.
Okay, Harbor Committee, Dr. Siegel?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, next week is the first day of summer, so hopefully we'll get some warm and dry weather and help with the water situation in the marina. As Brett Smith stated, the sandbags are doing a great job. I walked through the park twice yesterday, and it did breach the seawall between the kayaks and the garage over there. But the sandbags, it's working out as best you can do. Only problem with that is, as you probably know, that the water levels are going to go up another 6 to 11 inches into July. So we haven't hit the high point yet, but maybe the people who are predicting that will be wrong, hopefully. So really the season, we're technically near the end of June. That leaves us with July and August, and then school's going to start, and then that means fall, winter. So Tom and I are going to try to get a jump on the repairs, pilings, and that, not after the first of the year, but before, and then also look at the well runners and try to get the letters out really early this year, so we have a good idea of what our residents and non-residents and the open wells will be. And as final note, back in the day before this harbor was built, I want to commend the committee, whoever was on that at that time, that had the foresight to install floating docks, because we are the only ones around here that have that. So all those
Dan
people,
Graziano.
all those
Dan
people,
Graziano.
whoever they are, were on that committee at that time. You know, we have a really super, park and marina, but with that in our back pocket, that is, in the front pocket now, that's really, really a great thing to have.
Good.
So our harbor will be definitely filled next year.
Great.
Quickly.
How many openings do we have right now?
Just a couple. I only noticed a couple empty wells. People haven't brought their boats in yet, but we're almost to capacity.
Wow, that's very good. Good. Any questions of John? All right, good report. Thank you. Infrastructure, Bob?
Some of you know and don't know, Brett and I do take drives around the city. We work on more than just one road. We're gonna do some more work on Woodland Shore up there and between Weber.
Great.
Deep Lands needs to look at patchwork and everything. Hawthorne and Roslyn has is scheduled for asphalt this year. Hopefully that, you don't stay on top of that stuff, it just gets worse and worse. A week or two ago, the Farms Shores in the county met on the seawall. Some determinations that they're going to do, they're going to share the cost of doing a study on the seawall. The Corps of Engineers are going to also do core drills every 100 feet. If you watch the freeway being built, I asked the guy that built the core drill on the freeways, what do you do that for? He said, we look for stability in the ground. And he says, sometimes I've driven down 150 feet on solid ground support for it. And that's what the county wants, the Corps of Engineers wants. So that's going to be coming to fruition sometime, hopefully in the fall. It's not quick. Sure, the county does not move fast, neither does the federal government. And hopefully we can get with Representative Lawrence and the two senators, maybe get some federal money in there to fix that. Estimated cost is somewhere around $10 million plus. That's hard to say. But the core drilling is something we never thought of before, but they want that thing about $5 steel with pilings in the ground. So, more to come on that. But they're going to show the cost for that. The estimated cost before we're bubbled up with Clark, I think, is $35.
Bob, would they agree to the sheet steel with reinforcement behind? Or did they want natural, they wanted a natural habitat, or, I know there was talk about. Okay.
The natural habitat's a $30 million proposal.
The Corps of Engineers wants to do that. There's one place I think they could do it between the Farms Pier and the
Crescent Sale.
They could do that in there, keep it in a small area, and that would not, just leave the rest of it alone. Because that habitat, they did that up in, Fort Huron, they put the habitat. Well, the water level come up and basically, it's still there, but it's all underwater. The habitat's not there anymore, so you gotta look at that. The water level is supposed to go up another 4 to 6 inches. Whether it stays there or not.
Was that the meeting that they had lawyers there saying that they
Yes.
questioned liability also for?
Brian will.
Okay.
He was there, I don't want to steal his thunder on that part.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, no, sorry, Brian. Improvement Foundation, Brett? We saw the wonderful works of the Improvement Foundation on Lake Shore. The seascapes look great, the entranceway looked great, I mean, never looked better.
Glad you're happy. Unfortunately, we don't have a tot lot yet because of the high water levels. Most of the people on the foundation do understand what's holding us up, and I'm sure some of the residents do also. I talked to Wayne, the project coordinator, last week. He assures me that he's watching it, and I've seen him down there a couple of times. So we're on a week-to-week basis with starting that and getting it finished within a 2-week time frame. So once we get started, we can get it done. We're going to hold off till after the 4th of July, of course, and we don't tear up the park for the holiday. So we're gonna wait for a while, but as of that, that's our only project. We haven't met for a couple months now, so we'll meet again in July, and I know what to talk about at that point.
Wow.
So that's all I have to talk about tonight.
But I want to thank you. I think over the last 2 years, you've given us over $200,000 worth of project money between the tennis courts and then the seascapes and the maintenance of the entranceway, and I thank you for that.
It wasn't just me. It was
235?
all the
235.
trustees.
Yeah.
Trustees do a big thing.
We are.
Thank you, Brett.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Legal report, Brian.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Since the date of the last city council meeting that was held on May 21st, our firm, the city attorney, city. Under general municipal matters, we conferred with the city regarding the new park supervisor position. We conducted a review of the city charter regarding city employment matters, and we conferred with the city regarding the Open Meetings Act matters. On the 57 Micho Court matter, we prepared for and attended a meeting with the Wayne County Treasurer's Office. There were about 50 municipalities present. The Wayne County Treasurer conducted 5 of those meetings, so basically brought in all municipalities and we could attend. And that was a meeting regarding the tax reverted property proceeds, sale proceeds for this position. The unequivocal message that we came away from that meeting was that all the cities get to keep the money with excess sale proceeds. If it occurred before 2019, it's 2019. If it's 2019 forward, then they're going to actively enforce the recoupment or recovery of excess sale proceeds. And we prepared a fairly detailed memorandum to the city council with respect to that. I do council hopefully read it by now, but on the Deep Lands property development matter, we've really just been in a continued monitoring role. A lot of paperwork going back between the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, it's called ENRA now, but the Department of Environmental Quality, the engineer for the developer, and the engineer for the city with respect to permits and things that are either being applied for or being refined and issued. But again, that's just a monitoring role for now and for a change, really. It's nice to have a project substance. I do note in that regard that there was oral argument. We weren't involved, it's not our case. But there was oral argument in the Deep Lands property owner's appeal of the Wayne County Circuit Court decision of last year with respect to the deed restrictions, subdivision restrictions affecting the Deep Land properties. Well, that oral argument took place on June 4th of this year, and it's anyone's guess that the Court of Appeals is going to do it. But one way or the other, it really shouldn't have any effect on the city if it has any effect at all. It should have effect on either the property owners or the and then Councilman Barrett mentioned the Wayne County seawall issue. Councilman Barrett and Councilman Seeley were at a meeting with Army Corps of Engineers.
Yes.
Representatives of Wayne County. We were not at that meeting. We attended, Mark Wollweber and myself and Shane Reside, city manager for Westmont Farms, attended a follow-up meeting that had been requested by us and by Wayne County. And we went down to their offices a couple of weeks ago, and it was to discuss seawall maintenance and repair responsibility. We have the responsibility of between the farms, the shores, property owners, arguably, the good one, Road and some of them, that own properties right up to the edge of the seawall or
into the lake for that matter.
The French deeds.
French deeds, yeah, and not everybody is interested. We did a fairly extensive advance review before we went to that meeting of documents and records to try and determine who had the responsibility for the seawall. And turns out, to some degree, some of the property owners may have responsibility for it. To some degree, Wayne County certainly has responsibility for it. The Michigan Department of Environmental Quality has some responsibility for it. I won't get involved in all the detail here. And as well, the Army Corps of Engineers and federal government has some responsibility. So, against that backdrop, we went and we met with, they came in with an army of 5 attorneys and a couple of engineers, an engineer or two. And it was actually very cordial and beneficial meeting. We talked about very briefly about who has responsibility, and again, it's everybody. They indicated that the 1928 agreement between Wayne County and I guess the Department of Forest, we haven't seen it yet. They were promised to send it to us, and they're sending us some other materials. Long and short of it is that that agreement obligates Wayne County to the maintenance and repair of the seawall.
Oh, that's great.
You know, and again, we haven't seen it, but
And they promised to give it to us. Check to the-
Well, at least they acknowledged it. So that's a big step.
Is there a chance that it's in the basement here with our archives? I mean, we've got 'em.
Look
Yeah.
for it. I actually saw a similar deed years ago, at the farm hat, and they haven't been able to find it. I don't know why they're not using the list. I saw it. Neither of the community was able to find it, so we gotta go out that way. Turns out the chief counsel on this is the dad used to work for the Detroit Water Department and was someone I knew really well. So I think it could work out. That was it.
that was the long and the short of the meeting. There was a tentative agreement made, a tentative offer made to split the cost of the scope of work that was been provided by the city's engineers to basically a needs assessment. The soil borings necessary to put the supports for the new seawall, those would be an add-on to Councilman Brett quoted $35,000, which is what had been estimated initially, and then when we got into it with the Wayne County's engineer, he developed, he said we got to put in soil borings every on 100-foot centers, and so far, it's $600 per soil boring. Essentially, we're talking about 2 miles between the seawall, between the
So it's gonna be 6 figures to do the work.
But no, it's going to be about 7,000.
Brian, got a question. Are they basically saying that they only want to go with a cement wall? Because the only reason that the core sample would matter, well, the core sample is only needed if you're pouring cement.
Well, okay, cement wall, there's two cement walls as I understand it. I mean, one is the seawall, that is footed to the lake bed.
Right.
The other is the wall that just prevents wave crashing over onto the street, the road.
Right.
That's not technically the seawall. But they are talking about cement seawall for the seawall proper.
Okay. So you're looking at 15 million to 20 million to do it that way.
Well, they came up with a different number. Basically,
13 million, so I said 15. So
Brian, let me ask, are you don't you have a concern that we're creating a precedent that if we agree to pay any portion of the study costs, say 1/3, that creates a precedent that we're acknowledging that we have 1/3 or whatever percentage of responsibility for a seawall that we didn't construct or have had no control over?
The 1928 agreement.
What would,
There's gonna be two agreements. I mean, one is obviously the 1928 agreement. That may implicate.
Have there, oh, I'm sorry.
But the other question, your question is it obligated us to?
not obligated, but create precedent and my concern is it creates an expectation that the parties, that there's mutual responsibility and mutual financial commitment to the project, right?
Before we enter into any agreement,
Obviously, but I'm just, you know, I'm of the ilk that if you spend $1 with if you, this is like Colin Powell said, you invade. If you break it, you bought it. If you touch that thing, they're gonna say, well, you've acknowledged and you've taken responsibility, because Wayne County's position is they will not spend a dime on this until they're pushed against the wall. We all know that. They have there's no interest whatsoever. They have so many other competing needs. They don't have the resources. They have bridge work. They have I think it's $40 million infrastructure budget for Wayne County. They have bridge reconstruction work alone that's $30 million of that for bridges that are literally falling apart. This is, obviously it's a very important thing to us, but I just have a great concern about that. I mean, it's obviously you're going to guard against that and you know that going forward, and you don't think we're going to create that perception that that's going to be the case. I would be very hesitant and reluctant because I trust but verify with these, you know what I'm saying?
It's a bad omen, though. They had more lawyers than engineers at the, and so 3 lawyers and 2 engineers. But
Brian, my recommendation would be that they agree on what type of structure they want to put in prior to doing an engineering study. Because it doesn't make any sense if you're going to put in a steel wall. My proposal was for a steel wall. Right. The steel wall would be 4 feet higher than the existing wall. We put it in front of the cement wall and just leave all of that there. And as a result, it's a $5 million fix and it's a 100-year wall. But if they want to put in a whole new cement wall, then you're looking at a completely different structure and a different engineering study. So I think before we agree to a study, we had to agree on what kind of structure they're going to put in. I understand. I'm just saying that may be a precondition to say, hey, look, why are we doing core samples if we end up doing a steel wall? And if they want to spend 3 times more to do a cement wall, then they're going to have to do that engineering study of the soil.
let's do this. Let's see what the
Let's find the 28 mystery in the 1928.
This is all very preliminary. You guys went there to the meeting, argued with them about suing you.
Yeah.
The next thing that happens is they want to have a follow-up. So we did. We went there. We did what research we could in advance, given relatively short time frames that we had to prepare for that.
Right.
Everybody wanted liquid split. We went there armed to the teeth with our data as to who's responsible. We got a surprise. The surprise was it was 1928 agreement with the county. We talked conceptually about the study. There's already been a scope of work prepared by HRC, which I don't know if the council's seen that. The first time I saw it, frankly, was at a meeting. But it's a proposal by HRC, Hubbell and Clark, to, did you see it?
Yes.
And that doesn't really address the issue. That doesn't address the issue of core sampling. There was discussion of core sampling. wasn't any deep technical discussion about steel efficiency.
Right.
It really wasn't that. I mean, what we came away with was they would think about it some more. Shane Reside offered the split, if you will, of the absolute dollar study.
Pro rata, I mean, equal.
That's a starting point. That's the problem.
I'll tell you. Nobody is obligated to get together and talk about it, see what they provide us with. And I think at that point we developed a decision to be some identification.
Right.
One way or the other, and Bruce, you're absolutely right. You know, if they're not offering to pay, even if the agreement says they'll figure out a way to drag that into the zooms and quarters into the they'll figure out a way to let that go down the rabbit hole. And we know this. But you know, as much as I can say, and I'm trying to put the right gloss on this, it was a positive meeting to go with. And so we were, you know, arguing this.
On the other hand, you also have to show good faith. And that's, I think, part of what you're trying to say too is we have to show good faith in the sense that we want to solve a problem, and that you have to be earnest about going forward. I agree.
But you know, I'm not as concerned about taking preventative action to abate immediate hazard. I'm not that concerned about it. So, for example, I gave you an opinion last month. I gave a city opinion last month that some areas could be paved by the I mean, what's the alternative? You can't do that because then we own the seawall. And someone gets washed out.
That's not an alteration, I mean, it's just a warning, it's a hazard, so that's.
It's a warning, it's, you know, I mean.
We have a responsibility to make sure our residents are safe, and if we see a hazard, we need to give them a heads up about it, and we have. But you know, I'm having a really hard time with they got an airport that generates $2 billion a year in revenue, and they're crying poor boy when they got a document that says it's their seawall. I mean,
Okay. No, we do not have 10 years. We may get 2 or 3 collapse starts happening.
it's already collapsing.
There was a picture that was shared, I think, with the council showing 2 girls just sitting there, you know, smiling, and right next to them, unbeknownst to them, is like a gap of 4 feet, you know, a shelf that if it fell.
Took, by the way.
Killing it.
Nothing that's in these pictures because
They brought
And
3
just-
lawyers with them.
Just for the record, and just for the record, the comment about the lawsuit was, if we ignore this problem and a family dies in a sinkhole on Lakeshore Drive, the lawsuit's gonna cost a lot more than the repair of the seawall. That was the comment, just so you know.
All right, thanks, Brian. A good extensive report. Mark, manager's report?
Sure. Tomorrow, Ford House is hosting the Legacy on the Lake honoring Ralph and Mary Wilson. I think some members of the council know what they're doing. I know Captain Julie, wife are going, I'm going. I'm not sure if anyone else was able to. Also, Ford House has invited us to participate in a program to get a construction update, maybe tour some of their area on the project on July 17th from 5:30 to 7:30. I think they invited us, the Woods, and folks from St. Clair Shores as well. Mayor received just maybe today that the Williams Hawkins Ferry House at 874 Lakeshore has been listed in the National Register of Historic Places and granted historic status by the National Park Service. And that is the home, it's second home here owned, but moved to and renovated by Anthony and Jessica Kurtz. So, then I did send a note to council that we have received a rebate, which is almost $114,000 from our insurance policy that affects next year's budget. Of course, even though we update our costs every year, the actual premium went down by a few $1,000s. Each year for, I think, maybe 15 or more, maybe I'm wrong, SMART provides municipal and community credits. Those are typically turned over to the Point Area Assisted Transit Service. We get, and this year, $3,446. Bob Rex serves on that board from our base, from the city's basis. And then the only other thing I have is we'll talk about under new business, the multi-year plan from the Detroit Area Agency on Aging, and that's it.
Okay, good. Any questions of Mark? Okay. Thank you. Old business, the ARC, Grosse Pointe Harper Woods pool use request. It's on page 82. Yes, please come forward. And thank you for being so patient. Waiting.
Thank you for allowing me to be here and answer any of your questions. I think you have our proposal in writing.
It runs for 2 months. June 17th, I'm looking at the summary. And 2 groups of 10 to 12 special needs children accompanied by volunteers.
And staff.
Yes.
So what's the total?
We
You add in the staff and the volunteers. How many are we talking with the children included?
12 to 16?
Additional?
No,
Oh.
it's all together.
Altogether.
Yeah,
So the
10 to 12 children with at least 4 staff.
Okay.
So the total group would be 20 people or less on a
Yes.
weekly basis?
Yes.
Okay, so they used the pool yesterday?
No, we came over today, but the power was out, so we were not allowed to.
Ah, that's terrible.
The schedule that we came up with Kay was Tuesday, Thursday, from
Okay.
about 1 o'clock, 1 to
To 3.
2:30, yeah.
Well, my big concern was, and the reason that we had only said, let's try the 1 week in June so we can get a head count, because no one knew the answer. I was concerned that if, we got into like numbers of like 35, 40, 45 people, that's a pretty big commitment on our part. But my concern has been answered. If it's 16 people, that's not a problem for me. So,
Or nor myself. And that would be 16 in the pool probably, right? Because the
Correct.
volunteers would be with the children in the pool.
Correct.
To guarantee their safety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it either. I would like this to be an annual event so that the council could, just keep their eye on it. So,
all that said, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the ARC's request for this season.
Second.
any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item, Mark, is the Detroit Area Agency. We have to adopt the multi-year plan.
Each year, you get a notice of the 3-year annual, it's a 3-year plan. The Helm sees as one of the 5 senior centers that is funded by DAAA, about $200,000. I've gone through the plan. We are, again, one of my volunteer jobs is representing one of the 2 representatives from Grosse Pointe on the Detroit Area Agency on Aging Board, where I serve as the corporate president as well. So we recommend approval of the plan and will allow continued services that they provide here and throughout the Detroit, Grosse Pointe, Harper Woods, Springfield, Metropolitan Park.
Mark, what are the services we offer?
Meals on Wheels, counseling, things that the Helm does special include helping you figure out which is the best Medicare budget to go through.
So is this a financial commitment on our part then? No?
No?
So, like, we don't have counselors here, so I'm, like, how do we help as a city?
We helped them this year through the community development program. In past years, we've made other contributions to the budget, small amounts, to provide, to help the town provide services. This DAAA is funded by federal senior dollars that come through the state and also by the Department of Public Health and Human Services.
So what do we do as a city? Do we just give them money or?
No, we do not provide
I'm-
direct funding to them.
Right.
Their money will come from the feds and the state. And as I said, we do give them CDBG along with the other gross points to continue services. But our services to seniors are provided here in Public Works on a joint basis with an 18 it's not senior department.
Right. I'm not clear on what we actually do.
Approve the plan.
There's a plan generated by the federal government sets up these area agency, one for east side and west side.
Okay.
As a participant in the community that is covered by this area agency, you have to approve what the agency is going to do, their scope of activity. This doesn't involve financial.
So basically, by approving this, we're allowing our residents to be able to participate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's the answer to my question. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Mark, at this point, we don't have anybody on Meals on Wheels, do we? Last year we didn't, they told me.
We have had many.
Because I know when I've delivered it, they said Shores didn't have anybody.
There were 3, at the time you asked, there were 3, but
I just don't understand.
And the money comes out of the $20,000 allotment, roughly. I think that's what we applied for.
But if we don't approve it, then our residents can't take advantage of the
Right.
program, so we wanted to offer that for our residents, so I move we approve it.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. Public comment? Do we have any public comment? Helen, everything looks beautiful, I just want to tell you.
Amazing.
It's never looked this great.
I took some notes because I think there's some areas of misunderstanding. When Rhonda said that I've been busy, she's been absolutely right. However, the monies that she has dispersed have not come from the budget that you folks do. All that money has come from 3 sources: Sponsor a Garden, Shred Day Profits, and the Improvement Foundation. So all those thousands of dollars in your packets, not one penny is council money. It is all outside money. So that's one thing. Second thing, Tina, for 18 years I've been at that park 7 days a week. And the job that those inside the park people do is incredible. I wrote down a few things that I have seen. They go through the picnic baskets of some suspicious teenagers underneath the top layer of pop cans down to the bottom of the basket to see and find contraband alcohol that comes into our park. That's one of the things that they do. Another thing that they do is that they help frequently. Almost every time there's a major picnic at the pavilion, they are helping. Either take things out to the pavilion, offer tape, twine, scissors. I donate a pair of scissors to the gate every single year because people are using them at the pavilion and then forget to bring them back to the gate. Another thing they do is they help boaters and their guests find the boat wells, answer questions, and they look up all kinds of information for them. Another thing they do is they help with first aid. little kids who get a twinge on their finger from the playscape. There are Band-Aids. There's Neosporin that they help with. Another thing that they do is they answer any and all questions at swim meets. You know, there are swim meets that we host, and the other, what do you want to call it, team and their parents and guests who come ask all kinds of questions. Where are the bathrooms? Where do we go to the swim meet? What happens after the swim meet? They are knowledgeable and they answer those questions. Another thing they do is that I think I've already said it, they are the eyes inside the park. They saw the golf ball that went 3 inches past my face about 10 years ago in that park and ejected both the nanny and the child who had brought in golf equipment, including hard golf balls, to shoot inside the park. They do an incredible amount. They are the eyes in that park. The new gatehouse, there is no way that those people will ever be able to provide the services that the inside gate guards have been providing. So don't discount their efforts. They are amazing. They do clean bathrooms. They wash down the sidewalks after a swim meet with all the chalk on the sidewalks. It's incredible what they do. I suggest that you have Dennis, who has, I believe he is our longest gate guard, have him come and talk to you folks about what they do, and I think you will be amazed. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that I want to talk to you really quickly about our Shred Day. Amazing, May 11th, amazing turnout. We had the second best profit, and we don't try to make a profit. That's not our intent. It is a community service that our beautification committee long ago decided to provide for the community. But we had the second best profit we've ever made, which was $755. That goes directly into plants at the park, both on the boardwalk and at the new driveway. All those monies for all that planting, all that landscaping on the new driveway came from the Improvement Foundation, Sponsor a Garden, and Shred Day. So, Shred Day helped. $755 out of the blue. It was an amazing event. People came from all over. The line was constant. Our helpers from Grosse Pointe North, their National Honor Society children who get community service points. I sign a letter. I sign their little sheet, and they get hours, community service hours for helping us. They are amazing. They are just the most diligent, most polite, wonderful children. We couldn't do our Shred Day without them. They are our real workforce. We collect the money. John Pollock oversees the entire Shred Day in terms of the children. He trains them. They break down all the big boxes that have come into the park, get them all broken down, ready to be taken away on the scooters at the end of the day. It's an amazing amount of work that just seems so effortless thanks to everybody's participation. So Shred Day helps. Sponsor a Garden is crucial. We raise somewhere between $8,500 and $9,000 every year. Our expenditures usually are around 7 or 8 or more. We try to save $1,000 for the next spring before our new garden sponsorships begin, because there are always things that are damaged by the winter. We spend all of that money right back into beautification, and in this case, the driveway and the boardwalk. So, Sponsor a Garden. All those things absolutely help, and don't ever sell short the Improvement Foundation. They have given $5,000 to renovation of the boardwalk. They have also given us, the Beautification Committee, $2,500 for our part in both the landscaping of the driveway and in what we're going to be spending on the boardwalk to redo almost all of those gardens. So, there you have it. we are busy, we are diligent. There is a lot of work that may not even be able to be done this year on the boardwalk. It is that crucial. It's that big a job. But we have some funding that should help on for most of it. I know Brett we walked the boardwalk just a few days ago, and there are things that he can help us with, and we are going to do the best we can at getting it looking better than it looks now, which is terrible. So that's my report, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Ellen.
Any questions?
No, like I said, the park looks great. The entranceway with the rain and all the work by the beautification committee, I don't think the city's ever looked better. And Brett with the cutting of the grass and just trying to stay even with what we are trying to maintain. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, I have a couple of questions. With respect to the fireworks, the city is trying to raise some funds for the events on July 4th, but historically the yacht club has paid for the fireworks. Is this something new, or is this some kind of a new agreement? Why are people being solicited to pay for it?
Well, I think, Mark, they contacted you and asked for our participation this year. The new manager did, Aaron Wagner, and asked for, I think, 5,000 or 6,000. At one time, the fireworks cost 12,000. Now they're at 18,000? 20,000? So they've asked every year, and we stopped doing it about 8 years ago. We stopped paying anything.
Right.
So
what precipitated us paying now?
well, I think Aaron approached you, Mark, right? And he asked if the city would be willing to chip in, what, 5,000 or 4,000?
5,000.
And then the finance committee was looking at adding that to the budget. And then I think Matt talked about having a fundraiser to to take it outside the city budget.
And I mean, I think that's great. It's just that the yacht club is a for-profit organization, and they're going to be, gaining profits from this event, of which the city is subsidizing. On the surface, it doesn't seem as nice as them doing it. The city, having the people be able to enjoy it without the cost of it. But people are volunteering. That's great. Some clarification of it.
Yeah, I think it's volunteering, yeah.
The other, I wanted to commend the Finance Committee, Councilman Bisbal and Mrs. Ellis. A couple months ago, I think there was some concern in the community that there might have to be a tax increase to maintain the services that we all enjoy here. From what I heard earlier, the city's finances are good, at least for the next couple of years, and there's been no tax increase. So clearly that's been a lot of work on your part. You're to be commended for that, and I think the people in the community are very thankful for their efforts. And the last thing, I want to thank the chief and Brett and Rhonda, who are no longer here. I think the fact that they're making a commitment to stay working, for us is very important, for stability of the city going forward. You guys do an outstanding job, and it's very important for me as a resident to know that you guys are going to be staying here and providing the services that you're doing. It means a lot. And last thing also, I want to add one other important thing that I heard during the finance discussion is that there is some talk about, working with the administrator for the retirement healthcare plan to try to extract some savings. I think it's very important. I know there's a lot of people who believe, that we should try to cut these kind of things. If there's a way to ensure that we honor our commitments to our retirees and to our employees and yet find savings at the same time, I think that's the way to approach it, because there's nothing more important to me anyway than our honor. And we may have made bad deals in the past, but if we can honor them and yet have some savings, that's the approach I think that we should be taking. So thank you guys again for your comments.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Any more public comment?
Citizens of the North to go over to the helm, and what are they going to do over there? You approved it that we could create the over there. I haven't heard anything over there. Area what they're doing.
You mean the arc,
the helm.
The new name for soccer.
Oh,
okay, okay.
They provide counseling,
$5 lunch.
yes.
You can have lunch
as
for
well
$5.
as meals-
Seriously.
I've heard
meals.
about that, yeah.
And it's good. You can play bridge, you know, you can play cards. You have exercise classes, they have counseling for Medicare, and they do needs assessment.
They had to prove that? I thought that was something that was.
No, that's not, no, it was, that's not, the area agency approval that we gave is for the overall, as part of the plan that the county administrates goes through. This isn't, we didn't give you approval and give you a membership card to go to the Helm. The Helm is open to all the residents of the Grosse Pointe.
That's what I thought.
But you have to pay a membership fee now. You know, they've changed their structure. You have to pay a membership fee to jump. I think it's $25. $35 a year. And then you're entitled to all the benefits.
$5 what, then I get, well. All you can eat, you know. Thanks, Vito. Any more public comment? If not, council comment? Bob?
They had bingo today at the Helm. Anyhow, it's a great place and nice senior citizens. That's all.
Thanks, Bob. Matt?
Don't miss the concert on the 4th. It's gonna be a great day.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Tina? Bruce? Bob? Well, you wouldn't know, I guess, before today that summer's almost here. And tomorrow we have our first swim meet against Grosse Pointe Farms at the farms, 5:30, assuming it doesn't rain or whatever. And I think this year Grosse Pointe Shores is hosting the preliminaries and finals because of our parking situation and not having blocks. The actual prelims and the finals will be at Grosse Pointe Woods Park. And we also have a mini swim meet this Saturday. I mean, Allison, you'll be all involved with the swim team too. So July 4th, of course, we talked about the park as we cut the ribbon for the new gatehouse and the new park entranceway. The community splash party will occur before the next council meeting. I mean, that's July 14th. Before you know it, it's going to be here. 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Welcome aboard to Allison. You know, you have wonderful references, and we just have high hopes for great fun and activities. And I'd also, like Dr. Siegel pointed out, the visionaries that were on the harbor committee years ago when we were developing the new harbor. And they came up with the concept of a floating dock. I think the chairperson was Dan Braciano and others. They were visionaries. And Brian, you shake your head, but that's what I had heard. Oh, he wasn't on the committee? Okay, well then you guys were the visionaries to have a floating dock. And because of that, I was at Jefferson Beach at the Watermark having dinner last night. Jefferson Beach, many of the docks are underwater. As you drive to go into the restaurant, you see water, and it didn't rain. It was lake water. I saw fish sitting, just right in the parking lot. This is lake water. I mean, people are going to be fishing right there in the parking lot. So again, I want to thank the Park and Harbor people who were the visionaries and put us in a good situation right now with these unprecedented water levels. At this point, I'm asking for a roll call vote to go into closed session to consider the written opinion by our city attorney. I need a roll call vote, Bruce.
Councilman Barnett?
Yes.
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 I'm sorry, Councilman Gazelle?
Yes.
No.
Okay. At this point, we're gonna have a closed session. We've had a motion, and we'll be coming back in open session. Nothing will